welcome to this special edition of Focus On, where I'll be taking you through some of the key highlights of the official high-level roadshow of the Intra-African Trade Fair here in Nigeria. I'm Kenneth Igbomo, and thank you for joining me today. Now, as preparations hit fever pitch for the 2021 Intra-African Trade Fair, which will take place in Durban, South Africa between the 15th and 21st of November, we'll find out how Nigeria is gearing up for the main event. The theme of the Nigeria Roadshow is promoting Nigeria-Africa trade and investment under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And to kick off the proceedings, Dr. George Elombi, Afrexim Bank's Executive Vice President for Corporate Governance and Legal Services, shares the welcome remarks.
This roadshow would be to provide the business community in Nigeria with information on the AITF, the Intra-African Trade Fair, its importance, its role in supporting trade in an integrated Africa, increasingly integrated Africa, and particularly in promoting the very noble objectives of the free trade, the African Free Trade Area. The trade fair in Durban this November is also, the purpose of this meeting is also to bring as large as possible the Nigerian private and public sectors to participate fully in the AITF in Durban.
Now on to the keynote speech. To deliver the keynote address, Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment was represented by the Executive Director and CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Mr. Olusegun Awolowo.
The IATF Nigeria Roadshow is an avenue aimed at creating maximum awareness in Nigeria to enhance our preparedness for the IATF event holding next month. Of course, as the giant of Africa, the expectation of us is not only high, but worthwhile. As such, we need to sensitize all relevant stakeholders from the various sectors of our economy on the fair and use it to showcase our vast resources in agriculture, solid minerals, entertainment industry, information and communication technology, fashion, creative arts, and other areas of investment. IATF offers Nigerian businesses the platform to key into regional value chains, to extend their operations into the higher value segments of their industries, and to certify rules of origin requirements to enjoy the duty waiver and mutual recognition arrangements that we accrue from the African Continental Free Trade Area. On behalf of the Honorable Minister, Otumbani Adebayo, let me convey his profound appreciation to the board and entire management of the Afrexim Bank for pioneering the IATF and for their support to the Nigerian public and private sector, which, in no doubt, re-energize our manufacturing and industrial base. And to all our strategic partners, the Honorable Minister extends his appreciation to all of you for all you are doing to ensure Nigeria's seamless participation at the event.
Now, the coastal city of Durban, which is the largest city of the KwaZulu-Natal province in South Africa, will host this year's Intra-African Trade Fair. His Excellency Daki Africa, the Consular General of the South African High Commission here in Lagos, shares a message of support and also gives us some more insight on how the city of Durban is getting ready to host the trade fair.
We are very happy and extremely proud that South Africa will play host to the second Intra-Africa Trade Fair 2021 in the beautiful city of Durban in KwaZulu-Natal. This will provide an opportunity for all participants to build and consolidate durable partnerships for the implementation of the AfCFTA, to build a platform for all businesses to access as indicated in some of the material we have, an integrated African market of over 1.2 billion people with a GDP of over 2.5 trillion US dollars. As we deliberate during this roadshow to popularize the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, we are reminded of the obligations imposed on us to create post-COVID-19 conditions in which the momentum for the implementation of the AfCFTA will gain more traction. There is no doubt that this roadshow comes against the backdrop of challenges and economic disruptions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. We must thank the African Bank, the African Union, and the AfCFTA Secretariat for identifying the need to reposition both the public and private sectors to advance the economic development agenda of Africa, despite the challenges of our time. We are going to meet for almost 7 days during November in Durban. We must grasp the nettle to enhance intra-Africa trade and investment once and for all, so that we can change the development trajectory of our continent. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, in announcing the decision to move the trade fair from Kigali to Durban, the chairperson of the IATF, His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, former president of Nigeria, said, and I quote, "The Inter-African Trade Fair 2021 will enable African countries and corporates, as part of their recovery strategy, to take full advantage of the trade fair, which is also an important component of the AfCFTA, and under which trading commenced this year," close quote. He also thanked the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, and the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal for agreeing to host this important event. So, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa and Durban are ready to receive you. The Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, His Excellency Sihle Zikalala, has directed me to assure you that based on plans announced by our President, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, on rolling out the COVID-19 vaccination program, South Africa and Durban will be ready in November to host our brothers and sisters under very safe conditions.
Now, at the Nigeria High Level Roadshow, the panelists engaged in a very insightful conversation about ways to unlock the regional value chains through the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
When we formulated our 5th strategic plan, we called it Impact 2021, Africa Transformed. It wasn't just a name. We wanted to be deliberate, interventionist in our approach, and we really wanted to transform the continent. So we hinged our strategy on 3 main, it's 4 pillars, but 3, one is internal to us, and that was to promote intra-African trade, to facilitate industrialization and export development, and to deepen our trade finance leadership. And guided by these pillars, we went ahead to develop programs. Although you call me the Managing Director for Intra-African Trade Fair, I'm actually the Managing Director for Intra-African Trade Initiatives, of which the trade fair is one. So you mentioned has several verticals. You know, we want, there's a trade fair, there's a conference, there's an exhibition, but as I tell people, that's not an end in itself, and that's why I bother to talk about the financing. We want the trade fair to be the go-to place for the automotive, the go-to show for the creatives. In fact, the creatives will be every year, not every 2 years. Yeah. So after this year, on the sidelines of the trade fair, we'll have a creative, a car next weekend, the year that the trade fair is not holding. We also have the youth startup program. The only way I can address, there was also a question from a youth to me earlier during the break time, I can address the issue of the youth, is a gentleman happens to be in Nigeria, and his name is Ndubisi Eze. He came under the Tony Elmelu Foundation. We working with that foundation, we sponsored 30 youths to the IATF in 2018. Ndubisi's testament is that every day of that trade fair, he was inundated with visitors. He's into aerial robotics. He tells us that in 2019, he entered 2019 with a program or a project from the Singaporean government where he's now building drones for agricultural purposes. So that's what the youths can do when they have the ideas. The trade fair provides a platform to incubate, to get them trained, and to expose them to market opportunities.
I'm Chief Diana Chen. I'm the chairman of Trust International Group. We had investment in Nigeria in the last 6 or 7 years. So GAC Motor is one of our investment projects. We just get the partnership with Lagos State government to build the GAC Motor assemble plant in Lagos. But I just read some statistics on the report the organizer provided to me last night, and I have something worried about want to share here. That South Africa in 2019 produced more than 600,000 new cars. Morocco produced more than 340,000. Egypt produced 97,000. But in Nigeria, 2019, I don't think the total new car sell more than 30,000. So as a manufacturer here, and you have the opportunity of the AfCFTA, that's a risk and challenge I should face from South Africa and Morocco. I cannot develop value chain in Nigeria. I would prefer go to invest in South Africa or Morocco. Right? Am I right? Yes. So there's a little bit pity that I didn't see the Minister of Trade and Investment here. Otherwise, I will talk to him. If you don't give the really federal government policy change, that you need to stop those second-hand car imports. At least you should start from the age second-hand car. If you cannot start immediately, you need to have this timetable to phase out the second-hand car. You cannot use mouth say, okay, we encourage the new automobile assemble investment in Nigeria, but you don't have real federal government policy to develop and create the market for the industry. It's not fair for the investor.
When I think about intra-Africa trade, it saddens me, like Engineer Ahmed kind of alluded to, that intra-Africa trade is still so small. We all know what to do, so we've all said it here. But we all understand this cerebrally, but it's not happening. So it's still like about 2%. I think between 2015 and 2017, it was about 2%. Compared to America, compared to Asia, Asia is about 61%, and Europe is about 67%. That tells us that we have a huge gap to bridge.
I'll just leave you with one word, and that word is in the upstream sector that we're operating. And now we're all very grateful that the Dangote industry has come to rescue us in the downstream side by providing refined products. But what people don't understand, Dangote will be getting is crude oil that is essentially produced by foreign capacity, and that's where we play. So while we are trying to domesticate our refining capacity and ensure that all of that is done in Nigeria, we should also understand, as mature as the upstream activities been, ability for indigenous company or African capacity to do it is very limited. So we are operating offshore production facilities. So that's what you call FPSOs. So I tell a beautiful story, and it's all about one word: trust. In spite of what we've done and helped companies that have no capacity to produce their oil, we do not have the trust because we are Africans. So if I go across to Ghana and I offer to do that service for half the price of a European company, the Ghanaian company will not give me a chance.
But then again, we have the inter-African trade encouraging us to move. So we have to also fix that in our heads. How are we going to do that? And what is right?
Right.
Now we have that, but guess what? All the streamers coming to Nigeria and coming to Africa really want 70% of Nollywood. So they'd rather the studios be here. So for certain films, they would say, okay, you can make that in Nigeria. For certain music videos, they'll say, why don't you make that in Nigeria? But for the much larger pictures where you need, heavy equipment and bigger studios, then they'll encourage you to do it in, say, Morocco, which they're very familiar with. So for me, in our industry, there's a lot we need besides just us struggling to do things ourselves. The market is just about to take off. With Netflix here, the movies are being priced differently. Now a competitor is coming. It's definitely going to be priced much different. I see Netflix is already shaking. And I got information that HBO is also coming. I mean, I got it from them. They called to say, we're coming. The new Universal Studio chairman is actually Nigerian. Her name is Pelina Ibokwe. And when she was made the chairman of Universal Studio, which is huge, by the way, she sent a letter to me and said, I'd like for Africa to know that I'm here. And so she sent the letter to me, and of course I sent it to our minister. I said, I think you're in a better position to throw this out to Africa, that Universal Studio is coming. Yeah. So how do we get ourselves prepared for that larger market? Because we will be making a lot of money. We will be creating a lot of jobs. If Netflix decides to make an original today in Nigeria, and Amazon Prime Video is doing the same, we wouldn't have enough people to do that.
No doubt the Intra-African Trade Fair presents a plethora of opportunity for large corporations and small businesses alike, and it also cuts across many sectors. But how ready is the Nigerian delegation to milk the fair for all it is worth?
It's very important we stress and let people know what exactly is happening at the Intra-African Trade Fair in Durban. This is sensitize all our entrepreneurs, our manufacturers, our industrialists about how to showcase Nigeria internationally.
But looking at the engagements here today, sir, what for you is that big key feedback you're getting from today?
Oh, the key feedback is, of course, a lot of people want to participate. And the questions they're asking, how does it help my business? How does it help my startup? And we're telling them it helps when you trade into Africa and into the world. That export, the Nigerian economy must really be export-driven for us to grow our GDP. We're energizing the whole export sector in Nigeria. We're looking at all the concerns the exporters have. Cost of fund is the first thing they will tell you. Then we're looking at access to getting their goods about abroad. We are looking at certifications for them so they can be of standard, so they can be exported. So we're working under the export expansion program, a component of the national sustainability program itself that the federal government is embarking on to help us get out from COVID that we suffered over the last 1 year. So we're doing so much in that space to boost this. So this is just one of it, taking them to the markets, giving them access to market, getting them business to business so they can trade their goods. First, take advantage of the African Continental free trade and other trade agreements like AGOA that are out there for our entrepreneurs to access.
For the Intra-African Trade Fair specifically, for Nigerians that want to be involved in this, I would like to understand what the strength of the Nigerian delegation is, and for people who want to come on board, how they can go about it.
Oh, it's a simple process. We've been advertising it. You apply online. You tell us that certain criteria you fill, and then once you qualify, then you are going. Last Inter-African Trade Fair in Cairo, we took over 200 companies from small and scale, medium scale to large companies. We took them to Cairo. We're doing the same thing, but of course we're reducing it because of COVID. This year we're only taking 100 companies because it's going to be a mixed kind of trade fair. They're going to encourage a lot of virtual participation as well. So we can't flood the place. This is Nigeria. I mean, I can take 1,000 companies.
I think the intention of this roadshow, and it is significant, is to ensure that we can prepare our business community and indeed other stakeholders who are involved in trade to understand the opportunities that this Inter-African Trade Fair provides for all our businesses and, of course, for our economy.
All right, but for Nigerian manufacturers, how are you getting involved with this particular trade fair?
Yes, indeed. This may be the first time we are taking the perhaps core of the manufacturing sector to the International Trade Fair. In the past, Nigerian exhibitions at trade fairs has always focused on maybe the petrochemical industry, basic agri businesses, the ethnic goods and services, as well as basic raw materials and minerals. But we have not always focused on this showing up our manufacturing sector. And it is it may be still growing, but it is probably one of the top 5 manufacturing sectors in Africa. So I think this is an opportunity for our manufacturers to actually display what they are able to do and create the condition to build up perhaps partnerships and the relationships with other manufacturers across Africa. And certainly, of course, to also show their products' capabilities.
All right, but in terms of mindset, you were talking earlier in your panel discussion on the type of mindset that companies should use to approach Durban. Can you shed more light on this?
Yes. What I said was that we need to focus on the opportunities for growth rather than challenges. There will always be challenges. But when you discover an opportunity that you believe you can access, when you discover an opportunity that excites your passion, then you will find a way around the challenges. And we have seen some examples where this has been adequately demonstrated. So our feeling is that our manufacturers should go to Durban with an open eye, to look for those opportunities that will enable their businesses to grow, that will give them the opportunity to make those connections and build those partnerships that will create the opportunity for their growth, for the growth of their businesses.
This roadshow is very important. It's important particularly for our SMEs. We want to be able to give them a chance because we believe that our SMEs are the foundation of our economy, and therefore they must have that opportunity. The Intra-Africa trade opportunity is one that I think we should take advantage of, and our SMEs will be the driving force. So we want them to hear about it, to know that there are opportunities out there. The entire African continent, 1.2 billion, is the market. So if you are an SME aspiring to grow and to expand, we want you to please come to Intra-Africa Trade. Bank of Industry is one of the partners that is promoting this, and I can assure you, you'll get there, you'll get good opportunities, bring them to Bank of Industry. We will provide the financing that is necessary for you to scale up and get to where you need to get as an African successful story.
Now, as countries recover from the pandemic shock, trade will definitely play a huge role on how countries on the continent bounce back. And George Elombi, the Executive Vice President for Corporate Governance and Legal Services at AfCFTA, shares with me the opportunity the Intra-Africa Trade Fair presents for Africans.
What else do you expect? You have a trade fair, you need 10 to 15,000 people over there, and then you go out to mobilize the participation. So that's the purpose of the meetings here in Nigeria today.
But for Nigeria, though, how can Nigeria take advantage of the opportunities in the IATF?
Think about it. What opportunities did they take in the previous ones? They represented about 25% of all the deals which were struck there, $32 billion, 25% of that. And 75% of that, of the deals which were struck in the last meeting in 2018, were performed. So there you go. Nigeria is the largest beneficiary, and it makes sense also. It's a large economy in the continent, huge population, exports 20% of its export to the continent, takes just, 20% out, just 27% in. The conclusion is that it is a large beneficiary of it all.
From the conversations today, it was quite an interesting lineup. I'm trying to understand for you what the key feedback has been from the engagement today.
Engage more with the light manufacturing sector. We have to industrialize for that trade to occur between African countries. They must have something to buy and sell amongst themselves. They can't import to sell. You have to do it. And the message today was from the light manufacturing sector, they need support. They need support in terms of financing, but it seems more particularly policy changes.
Yeah, but how is the AfCFTA working to make the AfCFTA work for small businesses?
First of all, you know, most of Africa is small businesses. And by definition, even the work that we do with the local commercial banks is one of identifying those small businesses. And you have to identify them first. So in a way, that work for us is a lot more important than the financing itself. It's about putting them together, structuring the business, doing the studies, ensuring that you have the various forms of due diligence is made, then you put them together. And then that massive platform that we have created, the African Trade Gateway, that platform is to enable small businesses to get into, to have the due diligence completed and they sit on the platform so that everyone can do business with them without worrying so much about questions of compliance and so on. So we get them on that. Then we organize the payments. So it's a wide scheme of things we have in AfCFTA to deal with that.
This brings us to the end of the official high-level roadshow of the Intra-Africa Trade Fair in Lagos, Nigeria. As we buckle up for the 2021 Intra-Africa Trade Fair, which will take place in Durban, South Africa between the 15th and 21st of November, I'm Kenneth Igbomo. Enjoy the rest of your day.